Hello and welcome to our YouTube channel, RV Tips from Jan. Today's topic, what makes an RV truly a four-seasoned recreational vehicle? Let's take a deep dive into this subject. There's a number of things that we need to keep in mind when we're shopping for a recreational vehicle that we want to use year-round. The first is this: there is no published industry standard for what makes a recreational vehicle usable all four seasons. Number two, different manufacturers publish different temperature ranges that their all-seasoned or four-seasoned RV is designed to withstand. Number three, some manufacturers sell what's called an Arctic package, which provides you with extra insulation, extra heaters, special routing of your piping, things that will make your RV better equipped for both very hot temperatures as well as very cold temperatures. But here again, because there's no industry standard, you need to make sure that you fully define what that RV is designed to withstand, both in terms of the highest temperature and the lowest temperature. And keep this in mind. That lowest temperature can vary depending on the conditions of where you're camping. For example, if you're in an area that's well protected, doesn't have a lot of wind, and it's 20 degrees, that's one set of conditions. But if you're in an open area where there's high wind and you're getting wind underneath your RV that can pull the heat out of your RV, that's a completely set of conditions that you need to be prepared to deal with. And then lastly, there's certain pros and cons with regard to having your RV equipped for year-round camping. Number one is, of course, there's the cost. Number two is whether or not you're going to be truly protected in the worst possible conditions, whether it's high temperatures or low temperatures. And then number three, you certainly don't want to find that you're out and about and you start having problems because of the conditions that you're exposing your RV to. The industry will tell you that best practices will have the piping for the water lines run above the floor level for a truly all-seasoned RV. That allows the piping to stay at room temperature and assures that you don't have any particular pockets that can freeze. There are RVs, however, where the piping runs below the floor line and there's an insulated barrier between the floor and the ground that's heated. And that insulated barrier is supposed to protect those pipes. But you need to be careful that those pipes, as they get close to outside walls, don't become exposed to cold temperatures that allows that particular section of the pipe to freeze. What about our waste storage tanks and our water tank? Well, the best practice would be to have heaters installed in all of those. But some manufacturers will put heating blankets, if you will, heating pads underneath the tanks to keep them warm, with a barrier and insulation underneath that to try to trap that warm air between the barrier and the floor. Depending on the manufacturer, best practices have the heaters installed inside the tanks themselves. So we've talked about the piping, we've talked about the tanks. What about the waste discharge? Can't ignore that. If that's exposed to the outside elements and it's well below freezing, that waste discharge tube could potentially freeze. One way you can get around that is by treating your gray water and your wastewater with antifreeze. That is, you pour the antifreeze down the drain, in your kitchen sink, in your bathroom sinks, in your shower or tub, and also down the toilet. Making sure there's sufficient antifreeze that mixes with the gray and black waste so that it's protected from freezing. But the best solution is to have some kind of insulated wastewater outlet system that allows you to make sure that that is heated and protected from the elements. What about our windows? Well, typically RV windows, when they get in real cold weather, you're going to get a lot of condensation. They also are terrible insulators, particularly in cold weather with high winds. One option is to pay the extra cost to have double pane windows. But the industry will tell you that there's no guarantee that the seal in those double pane windows will not break. And if that seal breaks, as you know, you're going to get fogging between the two panes of glass. If you are concerned about that as a potential problem and objection, then you're going to be stuck with single pane windows. And in really cold conditions, you may find that you have to put some type of insulating material on the inside of those to adequately keep the inside of your RV warm. That's just something to think about. So these are all factors that we need to take into consideration when we're shopping for an all-season trailer. Knowing that there's no standard specification in the industry that says that these are the manufacturing minimum requirements to make an RV four-season ready, the decision as to which unit we buy and how it's equipped is really left up to the buyer. So it's important that we study the specifications as published by the manufacturer for the particular units that we're considering purchasing, because they will be as realistic as they can be to define for you what's the maximum temperature and the minimum temperature that their RV can comfortably withstand. Keep in mind that high winds, cold temperatures, snow, all of these things are changing variables that can impact how well your unit will perform in low temperatures. Additionally, if you're out in the desert and it's over 110 degrees, all bets may be off. You may find it very challenging to keep that RV unit cool, even though it's designed to be four seasons ready. The air conditioning system simply may not be adequate enough to keep the RV at a comfortable room temperature in those type of outdoor conditions. If this has been helpful, please check that subscription box. But as we say at the end of all of our videos, thanks for watching, and please continue to be safe and stay well.